Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, everybody!
It's Tuesday night, and I feel all right because it's 90s week.
Aye.
Yeah! We're going to get all that and more in just a moment. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan. And as always, I'm joined by the man.
Hello, everyone. A totally radical experience this evening. Super stoked to be here. Gonna have a tubular Tuesday.
I love it. Tubular. I don't think I've heard that in too long. That's a good one to go with.
You got to keep it in the pocket, always at the ready.
It's a strong word. But guys, before we get started with our 90s fest, with our wonderful topics, we got a few things to talk about. So first and foremost, how are you? No, I'm just kidding. We're doing well. I hope you're doing well, but we're doing well as well. We do have a giveaway going on right now. We've officially reached 400 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And we've just surpassed 4,500 downloads on our last episode. So thank you so much. We appreciate all of the support. So we average about 4,000 downloads an episode now, and that's insane. Just to get there, it's just been wild and weird.
Thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting and everyone who listens, and thank you for enjoying this wild ride and spending a little time with us, your favorite Scene Snobs.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And so what we want to do is, because we're at 400, we've been talking about for a while that we're going to be doing a giveaway of this Mandalorian pop at 500 subscribers. One lucky subscriber will win it.
Which is going to wind up right in my car, and I will make sure to get it to you eventually.
If he doesn't get it to you, we'll mail you out a new one and let Casey keep that one. But I will say at 600, the Deceased Special Edition Joker pin is up for grabs. And then once we get to 700, if you're a Funko collector, Marvel is doing the Lucha Libre edition Funko Pops. The whole case is yours. It comes with 4 Funko Pops of the Lucha Libre. 3 of them are regular size, 4-inch, and the other one is a keychain size. I will not tell you which ones are which.
It's a surprise.
And every 100 subscribers until we get to 1,000, we're going to do giveaways. So those are the next 3. So make sure you're subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that like button. And we just truly appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure to smash that and go ahead and give us 5 stars and any kind of rating on wherever you happen to be listening to us. Always remember that you can really let us know how you feel. We want to hear some honest critiques. We want to hear true criticism, and we're open to all of it after you hit those 5 stars.
After you got to hit the 5 stars.
Got to hit the 5 stars.
But that criticism has to be all positive.
It can be, chaotic freedom. You do you, live your truth. But seriously, 5 stars.
That would be great. Wherever you listen to us, if you follow us, subscribe, that would always be helpful, especially when it comes to iTunes, because a lot is ranked through iTunes. We've had some amazing people go on, and we have like 50 ratings and rankings there. So, guys, if you can go on iTunes, just give us the 5 stars and a quick blurb. We'd appreciate it. Now, with that being said, the Snobbies are coming up.
Yes, they are.
March 27th. I just have all of the judges have just sent me their. Well, no, I'm sorry. One judge hasn't. And I'm not naming anybody right now. One judge just messaged me and said, I'm getting it together. I'll have it to you by the end of the night. So,
hey, that's all right. Maybe we pay them a visit real quick. Make sure they remember that time is of the essence.
He's bigger than us. I don't think that's a good idea.
Never mind that. We can ask nicely.
Yeah, that's nicely at this point. No, but yeah, so Snobby, and I'm anxious to see because all I do is take their information and then announce the nominations. Again, Casey and I are a part of this. We don't judge, we don't pick winners, we don't do anything of that. We're just hosting the Snobbies. That is it.
All I want to do is host a big show where you have to stare at my face for at least 4 hours of it. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. It's my whole goal.
How messed up will it be if it comes back and we're not even nominated for anything?
I would be fine with that because I don't care. That's
That's
not what
true.
the Snobbies are about, man. The Snobbies are about other people and just celebrating everyone that we love and enjoy listening to.
I kind of want it to be where we aren't nominated, but we have to act like Michael Scott when he didn't win that award and he's just miserable the whole time, but he has to stay the whole time. And I think that would just be brilliant.
The last one comes in and it just have the disheveled tie off, just like, oh, great. Wonderful. Thanks for the appreciation, folks.
Yeah. Well, and guys, you can watch us be miserable on March 27th at 2 p.m. here on the channel as we host the Snobby Awards, the best award show that day.
This side of the Mississippi, at least.
No, I'm calling it. It's the best award show that day. Hashtag fuck the Oscars. You know how I feel about that.
Yep.
Well, let's get to some of the comments because everybody's here.
Hey, people.
AJ,
What's up, buddy?
I hope we can make you laugh. I mean, we're gonna try for sure.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this face did something for you.
Oh, you shut up. You're beautiful. What's up, guys? Radar. What's up, my friend?
What up, buddy?
John, how you doing, buddy? Always good to see you. Yes, we will be doing the giveaways, AJ. So anybody can win if you're subscribed. And thank you very much. Again, I don't know if we're nominated for anything. And it's gonna. I
think the congrats is for the 400 for all the subscribers and downloads. I don't believe that was timed for the Snobbies.
Oh no, that might have been. Oh, thank you. Yeah, for the 400. Okay, I appreciate it. See, AJ knows. He's so sweet. Hey, Kathleen, what's going on?
What is up, you wonderful, amazing human being?
Of course, the co-host of Funny Science Fiction Podcast and podcast Pop Culture Addict.
Pop Culture Addict
podcast.
All right. We've always said podcast addicts. We know we're wrong.
No,
we'll get it right one of these days.
Not right. Woo! All right.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. So those are going to be up for grabs for the subscribers. So I know you're definitely in on that. Radar says, does the fact that I'm stoked that it's only 2.5 months till we can all hang out again with awesome horror folks count as 5 stars? Yes. But we do need those 5 stars elsewhere.
Seriously, all the platforms.
We need Sarah McLachlan like singing behind me. And it's just like, in just 2 short minutes, you could give us 5 stars. And that will help us go along. Not getting sued. And we will be hanging out with Radar soon. Paul's going to be there, a bunch of us. So anybody who wants to come down to Carolina Fear Fest, again, we are the reps, the official representatives of Carolina Fear Fest. We're Crossroad Demons, as they call us.
Yes, it's your boys.
I love it. And there's going to be a lot of fun, horrific stuff to do down there.
My, how wonderfully you did that.
My puns. KC code full Tommy DeVito mode. Eh?
Well, you see, what you got to do is you got to get right in their faces and you got to say, hey, we have a problem here. We're going to have to figure it out. And the only solution is pain, unless they're bigger than you, and then you don't do that.
There's lots of pain. Lots and lots of pain. John Wass says, I could totally see Casey as a mob boss with Mick as an incredibly personal enforcer. I played an enforcer for a mob boss in a movie once.
Yeah. Was that the one where was that zombies?
No, that was a different one. This one was, did you see, what was the name of the movie? I can't even remember it. It was like a student film, and I played an enforcer who goes to kill this guy, and the director was playing the guy in the movie. And I pulled him out of my car, out of the trunk, and I had to throw him up against the car. And that's how I got the first dent in my car that night. And then the second one was I got turned on by the person who hired me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you got turned on by the person.
No.
You're like, okay, all right. Yeah,
they turncoated me, and she shot me. And then me, I was not polar bear Mike yet. I was like more like polar cub, maybe.
A husky jack.
I wasn't even that husky. I was just, I kind of had a little bit of a beer belly, but that was it. Like everything else was like pretty good. Still tall as hell. Well, anyway, long story short, I get shot in the scene, so I had to react. And of course, we're not shooting blanks or anything. It's all post. So
yeah, it's
I
real guns. Like you had to dodge
fall onto my fender and then fall down flat on my face. And there's a big dent in the front fender from me doing that for years. For years that was there. and that movie is some Odd One Out. That's what it was called.
Odd One Out. See, I was thinking it was Third Base or something, one of those.
No, I know what you're doing. It's Second Grade to Love, and nobody will ever see that. I tucked that away. My first student film.
But
Which
Mike,
is the war.
I love her.
I love her.
The ultimate inside joke. So there was a bit that our Mike, our good friend here, Mick, was at one point actually working as were you producing with that movie, or was that your directing and writing?
I wrote and I produced it. I did not direct it.
Wrote and produced Second Grade to Love. Worked with a glorious cast from what is that, Full Sail University?
Yeah.
Yeah, strong crew, strong team. I got to meet some of them, fantastic humans.
Yeah, you know a few of them.
Mm-hmm. But as good as that movie was,
oh no, don't do it.
There was nothing better.
Go right ahead. Go right
ahead. The interview between you and your two directing and writing cohorts, your producing buddies, your team,
the behind the scenes
show.
interview.
I believe, was it Three Bro Show?
Three Bro Show.
Yeah. There was a behind the scenes that was twice as long as the movie itself, explaining the movie. And Mick could not stop putting his hands through his hair.
Yeah, it was like
literally, he would just.
Or no, when I would be like this.
Oh, the face rubbing and the hair. It was constant back and forth.
When we were making this movie.
The most pretentious shit I've ever seen.
It was so pretentious. It was so pretentious. And it was the worst because it was, not only was it pretentious, but the goddamn behind the scenes interview was longer than the movie.
Yeah,
it was longer than the movie.
Shot for shot through the fucking movie.
This was a 15-minute short film. This was a 15-minute short film that we entered in a student film festival. And they didn't ask for behind the scenes footage. We just did it. We're like, that's what filmmakers do, right?
Well, you have to do it that way because, God forbid, if you did get taken to South by Southwest, you got to have something to follow that up with.
If that movie ever went to South by Southwest, it went to South by Southwest as like fodder for a fire. Like it's so bad. And I'll tell you what, I will still hold to my deal. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, I will have a watch party for that movie. But you guys got to, no. In fact, that movie's so bad. Casey's seen it. Not only will I do, and I can't believe I'm saying this, not only will I do a watch party on our Discord for the first movie.
Yes.
But I will also do the behind the scenes.
You have to. And you have to do that behind the scenes. It is not worth it. It is Tommy Wiseau level, bro. It is level of just, you were so smothered in your own bullshit. It was glorious. But it's really beautiful to be that age and to do that, man. Like that's so kind of leading into one of our topics tonight about the 90s. Back in those days, we were covered in that. Like, that's how we came out of the 90s, bro. Was like we were just smeared in our own bullshit, and it was glorious.
Except this was 2006, and I was 24.
I mean, fair.
Yes, he's not wrong. And on our Discord, I will do a watch party. We will do this for both of those things. But you guys got to give me 1,000 subscribers. You got to beat your feet and get people to subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers, and I need at least another 25 rate reviews on Instagram, on iTunes.
Minimum.
Yeah, because it's that bad. If I'm putting myself through this, and I might even throw Odd One Out in there.
No, I can only do so much. No.
That's fair.
Only one night, bro. I love you, but those fucking student movies are hard. I'm sorry. It's any student movie. Like, I'm gearing up for whenever my child is going to start being like, I want to be a filmmaker. I'm like, shit.
I'm going to tell her no. Don't do it. Don't do it unless you can go like this a lot. Don't do it. It's so bad. Let's see what we're saying. The Oscar's still around, unfortunately.
Apparently, John, no one really cares. I'm with you.
Yeah. I can fix that tent because that car is long gone. That's like 4 cars ago.
Paul Dunn
but
getting
I know
it done.
And if you guys are in the North Carolina area or a surrounding area, and you want your car not only detailed perfectly, but fixed up and looking fantastic, consider it done. The link is on thescenesnobs.com. Go check it out. He does amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
So, good evening.
What's up, buddy?
I love that everybody just gets along. I'm going to ask Danielle and Scout. So there may be something to that radar. I have to confirm. I don't have confirmation of it yet, but I was asked. So there may be a possibility.
Which would be awesome.
And he's not talking to us. He's talking to AJ.
I mean, there's more important people talking in the chat.
So I have to go on before we get started. I have to go on a little bit of a rant.
Ooh, rant time! I love it. What are we ranting about, my friend?
It's gonna be a subdued rant because I'm not gonna besmirch or give any type of ammo towards anybody.
Oh, that's not what we do.
That is not what we do. We are not bullies.
Nope.
But this gentleman right here is Paul Wesley. You may know him from the Vampire Diaries. He is playing James T. Kirk on the new Star Trek show, Strange New Worlds, which I was very excited for. Now, herein lies my problem. This guy went to Christian Brothers Academy years ago for a couple of years, and he went to school with some very good friends of mine, who I am still friends with today. And now, if you know anything about New Jersey, especially Central Jersey, I went to a school called St. Mary's. But they were all those Catholic schools were very intertwined. We played each other. We knew each other. Like my buddy Len, who you guys know, he was a scene snob, grew up with the guys that I'm talking about, but I'm not putting any names out there or anything. We lost Len and one of the guys last year. Very sad. But that guy who's playing one of my favorite heroes on screen of all time was a terrible and vicious bully to them, to the point where it still affected them to present. Still does. Bullying does that. And that is why I wanted to point it out and say it, because I believe in second chances, but when you bully and you do that much damage and you've done nothing to earn a second chance, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. And that is why I will be boycotting Strange New Worlds and not watching it. Yeah. So I will not ask anybody to join me. What was saying, sir?
And you shouldn't ever support it. You should never have its back. I think there is something to second chances, and I think people grow and change. I think, unfortunately, some of the lasting damage done is stuff that maybe we're not aware of. Maybe that's something that we didn't know. So I like to give the benefit of the doubt, as you know. So we here at the Snobs, one of the things that you and I do very well is balance each other.
Yes.
So in this scenario, I'm going to lean a little bit on the other side, but I'm still probably not going to watch it.
That's fair. I appreciate you.
I will, because I love you.
I thought you were saying you're going to watch it, and then I was going to kick you
out. No. I will happily abstain.
It's sad too, because I really like Anson Mount, and I liked what he did.
Love Anson Mount. He's such a good Pike.
But I can't do it. I can't watch a guy I know was vicious to a point where it really affected friends of mine in a hard way. Play a character who I revere as a hero.
And that's the tough part, is it's playing a character whom we love, who we grew up with, who is storied in that universe. They could always kill him.
Hopefully we get through to them.
And I don't mean the person, I mean the actor.
Character. No.
You kill the character.
Okay, let's go to the comments, and then we'll get started on the 90s. Paul says, I'll be boycott watching it with you now too. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. And I'll inform my parents who love Star Trek. Everybody, I'm not going to get mad if anybody watches it. I'm just saying that me personally, knowing this, and even talking to my friends tonight and going and checking in with them, it's still tough. It's a tough thing. I've only seen the trailer. I thought that was a Pike show. It is. He's not playing Captain Kirk. He's like an officer on there. So we'll see what happens. Casey, how did you like the Batman? Casey, I'm going to let you take this one because we haven't seen you since then.
Yeah, no, it's true. So I bailed on our Geek Fest Live last week with Jordan, one of my favorite humans. And it was very unfortunate because I do really enjoy talking to him. But midway through the show, I was like, okay, this is the only conversation about the Batman. And it was awesome. It was perfect. It was one of the better movies I've seen in recent years. They did a fantastic job. They played a lot into the director did such a wonderful job with the darkness, as opposed to other people who have failed using darkness and the light and didn't quite get it right. He was able to create a story that I felt could lead from Batman Year 2 into the Keaton Batman. It could lend itself to lead into other Batmans. It could be Batfleck Batman. You know, it left itself open enough, and I was very, very excited about that. So it was awesome. And Pattinson crushed it. Shovelface did a great job. Sorry, he'll always be Shovelface.
Yeah, fair.
But he did a wonderful job. He played so well, and he did such a good job being the Batman and then not giving a crap about the other side. The Riddler was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And in good, true detective comics style, the bad guy won in a bigger way than you anticipate because Batman makes it very clear he's vengeance. So he's not the guy who's getting in front of it. He's the one who is the punishment after, who catches up with you. But it doesn't mean you don't still kill a whole bunch of people and get away with a bunch of stuff, just like the Riddler did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended it with I'm sorry. I did want to say Andy Serkis was an amazing Alfred.
He was great, but there wasn't enough of him.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah, there was not enough of him, but I think it once again lended itself to leading into one of the other Batman stories. So it allowed me to see any of the other Alfreds as his Alfred grow.
Well, if I can, for a sec, just interject and say, for me, in the Justice League theatrical cut, Jeremy Irons left no impression on me either because there was not enough of him.
Yeah.
But in the Snyderverse, where there was a lot more and you got to know him deeper, I loved him as Alfred. And I know I'm going to love Andy Serkis because I thought he was great, but there just wasn't enough for me to really latch onto and see. Because Alfred's such a great character, I would have loved to see more.
Yeah, and they could have really added a lot more to him and given him some more early on. I think there was a lot of open for that. It was 3 hours long, and I didn't care it was 3 hours long. I could have sat through more. It was really cool how they did that. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon played Lieutenant or Captain Gordon. He played such a good disheveled Gordon.
Right?
Like a stern but disheveled, just tattered Gordon. You see him just already fried, and it's wonderful. It was really cool. And the Batmobile was the tits. The way they brought the Batmobile out was so freaking rad. I was not ready for that at all. It was awesome. So
they were like Jeffrey Wright, to go back to him real quick. The thing I really liked about him in that role is you're right. He's compared to all the other cops who are just like, they're either slovenly or, they just don't care. But he is downtrodden because he's the only good man in that whole department that is really trying to change things in the forefront. Because we did see by the end, we saw good cops step up.
Of course.
But yeah, you see how it's affecting him.
And has. That's the other thing. He's been around for a while. So you really get to see that this has been weighing on him for 15 years. This is an established career now. We see Barbara, I think, at one point as he's walking by, a young Barbara. I think they did that. The child Barbara, I think.
Might have. I missed
the house. It was just a fantastic movie. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Zoe Kravitz. I can't not mention her as well. She was fantastic.
Colin Farrell.
Oh, Colin Farrell. His Penguin was crazy good.
Oh, my God.
Crazy good.
Yeah, the whole movie, it was truly fantastic. Played out really well. I will say this, for me personally, I'm so glad we're getting more.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I'm so glad, and that they're going to add on to that Batman. I talked to my cousin about it the other day, and I've been saying this a lot. I even said in my review, a lot of people were like, I didn't like him as Bruce Wayne. I was like, yeah, but Bruce Wayne wasn't supposed to be recognizable. He was supposed to be somebody who didn't give a shit and this was him becoming a better Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it was just him realizing he needed the Bruce Wayne. Like, when you refer to him as the Batman, no, he needs the Bruce. He doesn't need the Batman. Or, he already is the Batman. Yeah. Now he has to create the other persona, and that's fantastic the way they put it on its head that way.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to get into it more on Geek Fest Live this week. And I promise you there will be one this week because we have a lot going on. We have Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill most likely coming back and staying. We have a new Miss Marvel trailer. We have more Doctor Strange information and Thor Love and Thunder information. And so much more in the geek world. We will be doing an episode because it's going to get a little crazy. But I feel like it's already 9:25 and we haven't even talked about it's a 90s show and we haven't talked about the 90s yet. So I try
to put on my best Michael Stipe here. So going full R.E.M. if I could pull it off. Got the pork pie, I
love it. Let's run through the comments that are still up real quick. Devil's Advocate, it's only one person with a ton of other people. Should they be punished? Again, Devil's Advocate, don't kill me. I'm not mad at you. And it was other people, but he was the ringleader from good sources. The good news is season 1 is untainted as he won't be in it. I still won't watch it now that he's attached to it. Absolutely agree with Casey. Robert Pattinson did a phenomenal job, as did Dano. Everybody in that movie. Jeffrey Wright is gold. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I still think Michael Caine was the best Alfred. He was, but I'm finding more and more I like the Alfreds we've been getting.
Yeah, I like every Alfred we've had. The original Alfred is still my Alfred, the Keaton Alfred. I love that man. I love that actor. I love the way he played it. But definitely Michael Caine gave a new depth to that role.
Yeah, 100%. Jay Seller, I agree with everything you were saying about Batman. We love it. And Radar, I totally, but that Batman would take in a kid who just saw his parents get killed in a circus. It's true. I have a feeling we will see that.
Absolutely. I mean, after his follow-up from Water for Elephants, I figure there's got to be some circuses involved to get himself a Robin.
One time I fell in love with Reese Witherspoon at a circus, and you work at a circus, and your parents are dead, so become Robin. And that's how it works. That's how we do things around here. Okay. Casey, you went to Connecticut this past weekend, your home state. And you had quite the adventure, and you visited a convention called 90s Con.
I did.
I would love to hear your experience of 90s Con because I have questions, but I want to hear what happened first.
Okay. Well, we show up in 90s Con and decent convention, good layout. We pull up and we try to find our way, which was really difficult to do because it was snowing because it's Connecticut. And even though it was 50 the day before, it decided to go, you know what? Welcome home, Casey. Remember this? And so we were like in whiteout blizzard conditions going 20 miles per hour on our highway, which are only 35. So it's not really that much. Took us a while to get there. We show up and it was, I was awash in 90s. It was kind of that wonderful when you walk in, you just feel that it's cheesy. It's kind of over the top. It's silly. It embraces its own absurdity. It tries to take itself way too serious. It's the 90s. It was perfect. It was really fun. They had a slew of stars. Like it was just a boatload of people from, almost most of the cast from Family Matters, most of the cast from, I think all the cast from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, really? Was Melissa Joan Hart there?
Oh, yeah.
Get out. Really?
The 3 Lawrences were there, Joey, Andrew, and Matthew.
Get out of here.
And then like Boy Meets World, Ryder Strong, Will Friedle, Danielle Fishel. Just boatload. TLC was there. Well, Tabaz and Chili. TC was there. But big up.
Get out of here, really?
But yeah, it was pretty wild. They had a big crew. And more importantly, they also had the big orange couch from Snick.
Oh yeah, I saw that note, and when we were looking at the website. So did you sit on the couch?
No, I don't trust that couch. I was going to take a
happens?
picture next to the couch and say, "Look at all the future children who lost their lives here." But that's
My God.
what that thing has seen a lot of action. It did not look fresh.
Do you think it's the same couch?
Oh yeah, from the way. I mean, maybe a different couch that toured. Maybe there were probably multiple couches. I would assume because I'm pretty sure they slimed the couch at one point. There was a slime machine there, which was rad. You could get slimed, which was so cool. We went to the VIP after party where we saw. Ready for this? It was not the VIP after party they had originally planned. Apparently, something got screwed up in the planning. So instead, this was the show they were going to close out the weekend event with. Instead, they wanted to put it on as their Saturday night VIP show. And it was the old Mickey Mouse Club. But it's the Mickey Mouse Club that had Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and Justin Timberlake. So it's everyone else who isn't one of them was there. And it was pretty cool, man. I remember watching that Mickey Mouse Club and being like, this is rad. So
do you know who wasn't there that was in that club?
Who's that?
Ryan Gosling.
He was one of them too?
He was one of them too. And actually, he lived with, because he was from Canada, he lived with Justin Timberlake during that time.
I believe that. It was pretty awesome. So it was a really cool experience just seeing that. It was absurd, of course. And I'm pretty sure everyone was on blow. Because everyone was all about like.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. A lot of jaws moving.
I'm in love with this. It's
It was
so
wonderful.
bad.
It was ridiculous. It was so absurd.
God.
I mean, I did get to see a friend of the show, Brian Krause there.
Yes. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
that was rad. We got to
are
touch base real quick. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was just a really neat experience. They had it was a good convention. You know, they had a couple of cool vendors. It was definitely at one point they had the old toy vendors, the three of them lined up, and it was literally like walking through my closet and then the toy store with all the toys I couldn't get and then back to my closet. And I was like, man.
So, all right. So before we get to that, because I want to ask you about toys, who did you meet? Who's like people you were really excited to meet?
Well, let's see. I mean, always stoked to see Brian. I didn't get to meet anybody, man. The lines were long.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson and Christopher Lloyd were there. Nice. So as I walked by, Christopher Lloyd was just slammed, and Leah Thompson was half of the line, but still, I mean, that's like 40 people. I'm like, I can't wait. I can't just. Lori Beth Denberg was there.
The one from All That?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, they had her, and then the other kid from Pete and Pete, Danny Tamber.
He was in All That too. The redhead.
He was. Yeah. Yep. So he was also. Kel Mitchell was there. I did see him.
So they did have All That. That's why I called this episode All That.
Yeah. Oh, they got All That. A bunch of the Snick people. I would have loved to have seen, some of the Are They Afraid of the Dark kids. That would have been neat. They had Christy Romano Stevens from Even Stevens.
I do not know that show. I know a lot of people. I guess that was like late 90s.
It was, yeah. Unfortunately, I kind of missed the boat. Like I only knew Shia LaBeouf from Holes, and that was a movie, not like a weird kink thing.
I missed the boat on that one too because I remember when Holes came out, I just wasn't that interested.
Yeah, well, we were older. We had sports and girls and money. We were stupid.
Well, listen, my taste in movies were a little more finesse.
Yes, that was back when we had a bit more panache in our style, and we raised the standards of what we would assail our eyes with, like Starship Troopers.
So let me ask you. Yeah, true. Let me ask you this: what's a toy you saw there that, whether you had it or not, you looked at it and you were like, I need this in my life?
Okay, so there were a boatload of GI Joes. For some reason, because they were like pristine, and it was like I saw them and remembered the way I opened them, and just them being like that out of the package. So that was pretty wild. That one for some reason just took me back. I was like, whoa. And then I did see what was one of the other things, a bunch of video games. Well, all the video games, all the consoles, they had this entire video game place set up where you could play an N64. They had Super Nintendo. They had Genesis. They had just everything lined up, all these old consoles.
I'm telling you right now, if they had N64 and they didn't have WCW back at the beach, they can go fuck themselves.
Well, as long as they have GoldenEye, it doesn't really matter because GoldenEye.
I don't fuck GoldenEye. I want to play Back to the Beach. I want
Buff Bagwell
coming out.
One of the best.
I want Buff Bagwell shaking out, doing his thing. Enough of this shit. Oh, by the way.
Oh, and Lex Luger up there, just like put him in the rack.
Oh my god. Well, I think that was back at the beach. I think might have been a little bit past Lex Luger.
Okay.
I don't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure Bash to the Beach was prime time, baby.
I think it was like 98 that came out.
Well, that was 98 Bash to the Beach was when he smacked up when what's his nut Scott Steiner turned on Lex Luger and joined the NWO.
Well, actually, AJ brings up a good thing we should mention.
Yeah,
we lost two. One fantastic actor and one fantastic performer in the world of wrestling. William Hurt passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who was one of my favorite actors of all time.
Same.
And he made a strong hairline look good.
Yeah,
especially a blonde hairline. And then, of course, we lost one of the best bad guys ever in wrestling. The man, Scott Hall. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Rest in peace, William Hurt. We truly appreciate it. Everything that you've given to us. I wish I had a toothpick to flick the camera right now.
That's so what good. We need.
Hey yo. I love it. All right. I want to say something to Paul. I want Super Smash fuck both y'all's games. Let me tell you something, Paul. Tell you something, brother.
You better listen up now.
We all know the greatest game to ever exist in the 90s was NHL 96. It was I love that. I don't care. I could play that game for hours back in the day. I posted something the other day. It was Sega at the time, but like I posted something the other day where it was like the perfect Friday night, N64, Domino's Pizza, and Blockbuster. And it was. I remember so many great times with friends back then. But let me tell you, NHL 96 was like what we played. And it got
I get it. I didn't have friends as much. I was more of an RPGer kid. So Final Fantasy was like my jam. That was my thing. That was what I was all about. I did occasionally when people would like venture up to the great hill that we lived upon, would come hang out and we'd play Masters of Terras Cassie, the Star Wars fighting game. That game was the bomb. And then also on Sega Dreamcast, I had Soul Calibur. That game was awesome.
Played all those Geek games. We were over here playing NHL and Madden.
Well, yeah, because you were a cool guy. I was never a cool guy. Never been.
You had to. We played, as things progressed, of course, we played, GoldenEye, things like that. But if you wanted to have, a bunch of friends over, you had to have at least two playing at a time because people would get bored.
So, I mean, that's why I had, Bionic Commando, or not Bionic Commando, Contra. Contra was definitely a necessity.
Mario Kart was a big one.
Yep, Mario Kart,
especially for two-player like that. Mario Kart is like the Monopoly of video games. You gotta cool out sometimes. You can't just play it all the time. People will get mad.
Oh yeah, I was one of them. As a child, I had to learn coping mechanisms because I wasn't able because I was getting nailed by those fucking red goddamn shells.
Oh my god, they're still a nightmare to this day.
Ooh, those homing shells, man. Everyone's like, oh, the big blue spiked one when you're in first place. I'm like, well, I never had to worry about being in first place. So that was never a problem.
Nothing is better than sitting with my kids playing Mario Kart Deluxe 8. And we're sitting there and we're playing. It's like, okay, yeah, they're getting better. Jack is getting better over time. He's playing. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not winning, but oh, I'm ahead. And then old dad gets that banana, throws it right in his way. And then Tommy gets a shell, and they're pissed. How could you do that? How could you? It's listen, there's no love in Mario Kart.
There are no allies in Mario Kart.
It's over for you. It's curtains for these kids. And my wife, who I will not throw a shell at, or I will not deliberately throw a banana at. Sometimes you got to throw a banana out knowing she's coming. Mm-hmm. But yeah. You want to avoid those fights if you can.
Yeah, I can imagine those are really good. I remember learning how to hold the trigger down so the banana would pop out and just sit there, so that way you could drive in front of someone and just smash them with it. I got real good at that move, and then usually right off the cliff.
It was just so fun. Dude. So I mean, you're sitting at this convention. It's all 90s. Now you gotta dip back and you gotta think about things. It's got to bring some nostalgia to you.
Oh, hardcore. Of course.
What is it?
I was a young lad. That was my growing up formative years. I mean,
Oh,
Dawson's Creek was me growing out of the 90s.
Yeah, that's legit. Yeah, because you figure, okay, you're 39. Well, you'll be 39 on Thursday.
Yep.
And I just turned 40.
Only 2 days away.
You're still in your 30s. Relax, pal. And I just
I'm
turned
okay
40
with it.
2
Last
days
year, my
ago.
30s. I still have one more. Woo! You're done. You got days. Well, time, borrowed time. You're out.
I know. I'm 2 days into 40, and I'm like, I don't know about all this. You still got 2 days left. Like, you need to get a time machine together or something. Just run. But at least, no, actually, you have 2 days left, but you still have a year of your 30s left.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to like rock out the end of the 30s and just become the absolute hobo of a human that I'm been trying to grow into all this time.
I mean, it started with the scarf on the head.
Yeah.
And then it moved to the hat.
Yeah.
And then listen, I think it works, but there's a serial killer out there right now looking for homeless people. You need to stay indoors.
Well, luckily he got caught.
Did he get caught? Did they catch him?
Yeah, at least who they think, the suspect. So
I hope so. Man, it's crazy.
That was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it was nuts. Tamara Carlos joins us. Thank you. Appreciate you joining in. We're talking 90s and everything in between. So, Case, before we move on to our next topic, I want to ask you, what was your favorite thing to see or do there?
Okay, so the slime machine was rad. The big orange couch was really cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. And a lot of the people just walking by and seeing fucking Nev Campbell, it's what? Because, I mean, part of the Scream crew was there, too. Like, it was a big to-do. But, yeah, I don't know what was the most 90s. Actually, I do. NBA Jam.
They had NBA Jam?
They had NBA Jam set up. 2-player dudes were going at it, and standing there because I was standing there outside of a booth waiting to pay for something else. There's a bit of a line, so I just heard the call the whole time, and I'm just watching like, wow, I loved that game. I had it on Game Gear, and I carried it with me everywhere, man. I had that game constantly. So just hearing it, knowing the players, knowing the call, he's on fire.
Oh my God. You could not miss. You could not miss, especially in big head mode. When you were on fire, it was over. You won.
You just hit, and all you have to do is hit those corners. Just sit on the corner of the edges of the court. Just rain them in, man. Buckets all day.
That was such a great game.
It was. So that brought me back the most. That was what put me there. And then immediately from that moment, I start seeing everybody and I start it was really strange how I had walked through previously and seen everyone, but I didn't see them through the eyes of young me, young teenager me. I wasn't there until I heard NBA Jam. And then it was on like Donkey Kong. I was in the zone. I was all 90s up. Now, seeing the giant orange couch, I really wanted to go sit on that fucking thing, man. That was part of my life. I wanted to go get a picture with it, but seeing more people sit on it, every time I walked by it, I was like, please don't sit on that. Now look, I have no doubt that it is clean. I have no doubt that they have done a lot of work on restoring it. I don't trust it.
I'm telling you right now, you're lying to me. And the reason I know you're lying to me is because I know you saw Topanga, and there's no way that didn't bring you back.
I didn't. I awkwardly tried to walk by that booth 3 times. I didn't see her.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep. And then the one time there was a Boy Meets World panel going on, I had actually just missed it. And I just missed the Charm panel too, which really pissed me off. Yeah. Look, it was a terrible convention going experience because I failed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I screwed myself out of a really great convention that had a lot of cool bits to it. But
see, next time we gotta go. Because me, I'd be walking in and be like, "Hey, Topanga, it's my boy." Think he's cute?
Right.
Fuck.
Well, not even that, man. I mean, seeing Holly Marie Combs, I got all like,
I know,
Twitter pated. I was like, "Biscuits, it's Piper."
It still amazes me too because you're friends with Brian Krause.
Yeah.
So it's it's so funny that like the one person you want to meet because you love Charmed. And last year when we first met him, and like again, I'm saying we met him and we interviewed him on the show, but like Casey like legit hangs out with him sometimes and they talk. Not me. I'm not adding myself to that list. So it's funny to me because like before we met him, Casey was always yap about Charmed. Not a show for me. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't for me. I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I was an absolute helicopter about it. Just yap.
You always were on, and Leo and the fucking sisters and all that other shit. And then like when we,
I love it. That's what you took out of everything. Out of all the conversations I've ever had. The fucking sisters and shit, and that Leo guy, a fucking angel. I don't know.
But the professional I am is when Brian sat down with us. I could go word for word on Charmed because because subconsciously I listened to everything you said.
Oh, I'm sure it got stuck in there somewhere because if you hammer at someone enough, it's like I like to think of my conversations as jackhammers. We're just going to wear you down, leave you into little pieces, but you'll remember.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have become friends with more people there, but I was dying at the convention last year.
Well, man, you couldn't.
So.
You literally physically were unable to move. We met Rob and Damien. We had a blast with people, man.
Paul, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Radar. Like we met some very cool people there. We had some great times. So
I read lines with Bei Ling.
Oh my God, that was so funny too. She was like, Casey was like, she's like, come here, Casey, come here. Like she kept asking for help about everything. And Casey was like, go, and I'm just like dying. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to lay down.
You were seriously like just sitting in the room because we were set up to do the interviews, and I was like, hey, Bei Ling just asked me to read lines with her, and you're like, well, why are you still fucking here? Go. Like, but like it's so much pain. You're like, why just go, do it, man. What the fuck? You're like
part of the social contract of that weekend was he had, like, my wife made sure Casey was like, you had to take care of me, which he did. And I was like 4 weeks away from my surgery, my first surgery. So like I'm dying, and Casey's like, listen, can I get you anything? I'm like, go read lines with Bailey. I was like, I don't care. Or what's her name? We've had her on the show.
Hannah Fierman,
who directed Dark Circles.
Mm-hmm.
And she was there. She was of course from VHS and a bunch of other movies, Siren, things like that. And Casey became friends with her too.
Yeah, she was rad, man. She was a totally cool person.
Really nice.
Chat outside. She was awesome human.
So you guys were always like kind of chatting away, and like you'd come back and check on me, and I'd be like, just go, leave me. And then I'd feel good for like 5 minutes and die again.
You were balancing back and forth between the whole I'm dying and I need everything, and also the why are you still here? I'm dying. Get out of this room. Leave me be to die.
My biggest worry was like, oh man, I hope they don't get him drunk, and then he's not awake in the morning. I'm gonna die.
No, it's totally out. I had to keep my time on. I had to make sure I was right.
You were perfect, but it was funny because I really thought I was dying. We are getting way off topic of the 90s, but that's us. Like that's the Scene Snobs podcast. But I will bring us back on.
And we also do have the Carolina Fear Fest coming up, which I'm very excited about at the end of May.
I'm so excited. That lineup is so good.
Yeah.
A lot of
and not to mention the overall, just to make a quick final wrap up on the convention, although the 90s convention was fantastic for taking me back to what really is my favorite era. That is my favorite time. That was my time to shine. That was when I was around. I had my fucking Huffy bike and I was a badass, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to meet up with my friends at the one payphone in town. It was awesome. So it was great to have that connection and to really throw myself into that.
Oops,
one of the things, yeah, I saw that. One of the things that it lacked was honestly what the Carolina Fear Fest brings, and that's just it's a little Carolina Fear Fest, a little more well put together. It's a little more, I don't know. It just felt better. It felt easier. It worked better. There was a better flow to the entire floor. There's just a better interaction with the staff. The staff at Carolina is just bar none, y'all. After the 90s convention, they were not bad, but it was not the caliber of what we've experienced. So, I feel like I've already been, it's kind of hard to go to other conventions after you've been to one of the best. So, and
we need to get an on-air intern for the convention.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to apply to be an on-air intern, because we're not getting paid either, so you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
We need somebody to cover the table when we're not there. So we have to find somebody who's in the North Carolina area who wants to jump in and do it.
We'll see who wants to sit there and just, make sure our shit don't get stole and then go get us coffee, because I live on caffeine.
Yeah, that's legit, man. Because I actually, like, even at the table last year, I had to send Casey to do things. But it was kind of like, I'm stuck here. Like, I couldn't do panels. Like, I was supposed to do most of the panels. I was like, you got to do it. And like, Casey's eyes would be huge, and he'd be like, I'd never done a panel before. And I'm like, it's easy. Don't worry about it. I'll send you questions. And I'm dying in the chair. Like, all right, ask him this. Ask him this. All right. And then I start like dying a little bit more. And I'm just like, all right, here's the deal. You just need to come up with something because I'm dying.
You did. And that was the best part. The CJ Graham one was probably the toughest because you were struggling. And that was the one you wanted to do most because, CJ Graham's a fantastic dude. You've had the chance to interview him through the show. And, being able to have that panel with him and the stories he has from Friday the 13th Part 6 is just glorious. Yeah. So it was really a lot of fun. And to be able to do that through you, like, as the conduit, I was terrified. But as soon as I could turn it over to the crowd, I found 3 people who knew their shit. And I was like, you guys ask questions because they knew what they wanted. And I think that's one of the cool parts too about Carolina is how very interactive it is. How, that lends itself is very open to get to know people, to ask your questions, to interact a little bit longer, to say hi, it's really nice. So.
Which honestly, like I was talking to the people who are running it, and I don't want to put out any names right now because you never know if they want their names out there, but until I ask. But the people who are running and putting it together, who are fantastic, like we talked about, like, okay, if we're going to both host panels this year, like both of us together,
yeah,
we want to handle those panels like we do this. Mm-hmm. Anybody who steps in, of course, we're going to talk about the thing that you're there to talk about, your movies. Yeah. But we want you to have fun, and we want everybody watching to have fun too, and maybe see something a little bit different that they haven't seen everywhere else. And that's what we try to do here at the Scene Snobs, everybody. This is now. Let me touch my face because I feel pretentious. Just like the filmmaker.
Oh yeah, let me kick my fucking hat up. There we go. All right, now.
Just kind of like lean back, put your arm around the person next to you, and just be like, "Yeah." So, yeah. Well, so this is basically where we've gone with it. I'm just going to ask the question. In your opinion, Casey, what's better, the 80s or the 90s?
Okay, this is an interesting question because obviously the 80s beget the 90s. So you can't have 90s day glow without 80s fucking colors everywhere. You wouldn't have the prowess and power of the 90s mall tours without the 80s mall tours. So a lot of the things that I loved, boy bands, you wouldn't have had those without the 80s boy bands or R&B groups. So like you have to have Belle Biv DeVoe in order to get to Boys to Men. And the 90s was that culmination of, speaking only for myself, of course, was going from boy to man. So I enjoyed the 90s thoroughly for many reasons. Early 2000s were good, but they weren't the 90s. The 90s was my coming of age Goonies era. Yeah. And I think that's why I love it more, because I actually can relate to all of those things and remember those things. I remember watching Jawbreaker for the first time and thinking how stupid and ridiculous that movie was. I remember those interactions, those things. Can't hardly wait. It was a guidebook to my life. 10 things I hate about you. Look, I'm not saying it was smart, but it was.
No, it was different though.
Pet Shop Boys, I love it.
Yeah.
It was Starship Troopers. It was an absurdity to it. It was the excess of the 90s. It was the fun of the 90s, the craziness of the 90s. We were now all connected in the 90s. Internet, man. The fucking internet. Like, computer nerds became the triumph. That was the goal, was to be the computer nerd in the 90s by the end of it.
You almost felt like you had to be. Because like everything was just so most of the people who listen and watch this show are probably around our age. So they probably know this, but I don't give a shit. You're gonna listen anyway. So here we go.
Get him.
So if you just remember, it was like, I don't even know what a computer is. I don't know what a computer is. I don't know what a computer is. Holy shit, I need to know what a computer is.
Yep.
And, like, the internet and everything. It's just like, oh, AOL's got it. AOL will take care of that. You'll sign in. Do you be honest.
Discs? Do you remember getting your free 5 to 12 hours of AOL online?
Oh my God, right? Oh, your mother starts trying to use the phone and you're on the internet downloading porn. Oh my God, Mom, no!
Oh, it was the worst because I had 14.4. So by the time you got to boob, it had been 35 minutes.
What was it in Hackers? Isn't it 128.8 KBS modem?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. 56K was a big DSL.
They're treating it like the Grail. Like, oh my God. It's 128.8 KBS modem.
Well, that, and then, Johnny Mnemonic, the guy had like 326 kilobytes for his brain. It's like, that is nothing.
That is the actual human brain is so much more advanced than that. So let me ask you this, because everyone had one with AOL. And be honest, I don't care how embarrassing it is, how shitty it is, because I'm gonna give mine too. What was your AIM name?
Plotamus Maximus.
All right, that was pretty. All right, that works.
Mine was because I've been Plotamus the whole time. I never dropped the Maximus, but I was Plotamus Maximus in AOL, and since then all my tags are Plotamus.
Mine was Liquid K768. Not chosen by
out
me.
Of here. Get the fuck out of here. What are you like? You're a ketamine kid?
No, but not chosen by me. I was like 15 when I got that. Dude, that's how Lenny and I met. We were in a computer class to learn the internet in school, and it was like brand new. Like, we were one of the first schools to do it because they had computers where you played Oregon Trail. Basically, that was it.
I mean, same. Yeah, we did Oregon Trail, and then we had the one Apple II that had like the rocket game where if you did the math right, it would like add to the rocket and you could shoot to space.
I love AJ's Too Shady 24. Dude, we should anytime. All right, if there is ever a point where the Scene Snobs becomes big enough and we can have like a Scene Snobs fest where everybody comes, everybody has to wear a name tag, but it can only be your AIM name.
Yeah, it has to be your AIM name, and it's just we're going to get a big lanyard and a placard, and that's what we will refer to each other as.
Paul says Sam wants to know who your favorite woman is on Charmed. Leah.
Holly Marie Combs, man. Piper all day.
He's Piper all day. He always
Piper's my number one.
I didn't want to call him
A1. I really enjoy. We got Phoebe, and I was cool with Prue, but yeah, now Piper.
I will say this. I didn't want to call him out for it, but I'm going to have to just to prove this to you, Paul. His name wasn't actually Plotamus Maximus. It was Plotamus and Piper. 143.
Plotamus and Piper tea time. That was
I love it. All right.
I sang These Dreams a whole lot when I was a kid.
I just feel like for me, like as much as I loved being a kid in the 80s, and like there were so many good memories and so many things. And when you look back at the nostalgic stuff, it's really awesome. But the 90s, the 90s for me was like, that was my time to be adventurous. That was my time to really get out there and like kind of learn about myself. The music was different because as much as I liked so much music from the 80s, oh my God, Biggie, Tupac, Snoop Dogg, like Wu-Tang, everybody, like it seemed like every hip hop group that was coming out then was just a massive deal.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you had the massive hip hop, you had alt rock, you then had all these bands that were coming out with all these purposes, and now all these bands have these messages they want to get across, and people, and they're bringing a lot more of themselves to the forefront. We grunge, I mean, come on, fucking grunge. We had an entire movement that killed one round of music and started a whole new area. So it was great. There were a lot more social issues coming out. We were finally learning about things. That was really cool.
Not to like speak ill of all of their albums in the 80s, but one of my favorite albums from Guns N' Roses came out in the 90s. So like, I'm cool with it.
What was that? Use Your Illusion?
Yeah.
Sweet.
1 and 2. I mean, Civil War is still one of my favorite songs from theirs.
I know. Every time I hear it, I think of you, buddy.
And it was actually playing on the radio the other day. I love it so much. It's such a good song to just cruise to.
Yeah.
It's got a good sound to it. I can appreciate it. I love that song. And then
California Love was a big one.
Oh my God, California Love was amazing. That's a song that just sticks out. But and that's like his most popular. It's not even his best in my opinion.
No, not his best. It's just one that it was everything in the MTV playing music videos before I got on the school bus and when I got home. It was awesome. I love that. And then, you could flip over to, Nick and watch Alex Mack or, any.
That was another one that kind of passed me by. Like Doug, Rocco's
Modern Life. Hey, Rocco.
Rugrats was cool back in the day. All that.
Yeah, with Tommy and Chucky and Angelica.
That's a new show. They have a show now.
Do they really?
Kids watch it. Yeah, they brought it back. It's on Paramount Plus. But it's not like the animation it was back then. It's like a little more for the kids now.
Okay.
But they're all like still babies, still doing their thing.
Hell yeah. Oh, sorry. Tamara brought up a great one that I have to bring up. TRL. Do you remember Total Request Live? For middle school, bro, all middle school. I was watching that because Carson Daly was cool and I had to learn all about what the new music was and always paying attention to that.
I lived in Jersey, like a train ride away from Manhattan.
Yeah.
At the time. So, like, do you know how many girls would get out of high school and be like, "Oh, we're going down to the MTV building for TRL to be outside to held the signs and shit"?
Wait, for real?
Oh yeah.
I would have done that a fucking heartbeat. I mean, it was like an hour and 30 minutes.
You know me in lines, though.
But
I got no interest in lines. Even back then,
I don't do lines now. I do not do lines now. I used to do lines. I had no problem standing in lines and crowds. I was great with it. Then I got old and I was like, I got shit to do. The fuck out my way.
Dude, you ain't kidding. I go to these conventions and it's like, I'm not waiting on this. And it's just kind of like, and I feel like there's this like agreement that you make, like if you go to conventions and stuff, like where, the stars aren't going to come out and right out and say like, you have to wait in line to meet me. But I think that's how they feel. And I understand the agreement and how many fans like agree to that and do it. And I listen, I'm not putting anybody down. I don't do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I don't have to meet you. You mean nothing to me unless you mean something to me. And if you mean something to me, it's because you've given me a good experience in my life. Other than that, good luck. I hope you get your money. I'm going to be over here.
I mean, I totally get that. That's one of the things I really enjoy about Artist Alley is because they had comic book artists there too. So I had a great time being able to interact with a couple of them. I completely spaced on this one though. Number one top seat thing was motherfucking Bill Diamond was there. This is one of Jim Henson puppeteers, and he had tons of all the actual puppets there. He had Salacious Crumb from Return of the Jedi. It was right there, bro. I was like, it's like, and then I got one of the big Skixies from Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
That was so cool, but there was just so many characters there, and just seeing all of those was fantastic. Because that brought me back too. Because I also forgot a giant part of the '90s was puppets. Like a huge part of the '90s were fucking puppets.
Were they?
I love.
I guess you like Eureka's Castle. Like Fraggle Rock was more '80s.
Yeah, I guess.
Eureka's Castle was definitely a '90s show. I think Nick Jr. had a lot of puppeteering going on.
Fair. Dinosaurs was a big show on Fox.
Yeah, that was a big. No, that was ABC. That was on ABC? After Roseanne.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Disney still owns that. It's on Disney Plus.
Awesome.
90s spawn Power Rangers. See, like Power Ranger again. We talked about this in one episode where it was like, I'm really into Power Rangers. I love this shit. This is amazing. Holy shit, puberty hit. I'm gonna look at that woman over there. Yeah, and it's just completely dropped Power Rangers. I became a puppy dog.
I did not. I started uncomfortably staring at the girls in Power Rangers going, why does this feel funny? What's happening down there? My pants are tight. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I just don't understand. Well, I didn't think they were pretty yesterday.
Yeah, right? Oh, it's so weird how that happens too. Like suddenly I want to befriend this person. I am not really sure why.
Yeah, I for me, yeah, Tam, actually I love that nickname. We're gonna give it that. You're Tam
All
now.
Real Monsters was
Our Real
so
Monsters
good.
good. Hey Arnold, Ren and Stimpy, of course, Ren and Stimpy was so good.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead alone as a show was just first and foremost. I love Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Remember when they were playing baseball with the frogs?
Oh, yeah,
I'm not about that lifestyle, and I've never done
it's great because you're just like you just gotta hit them really hard, right?
And the fact that they're coming back as middle-aged men just makes me laugh even harder. But I loved all of their commentary during music videos.
Oh yeah,
every music video when they watch Blind Melon, it's like, holy shit, this chick's a bee. And it's just like the way it hit. It always landed. Mike Judge knew how to make you laugh.
he did, and Beavis and Butthead was one of those that really landed all the time. It was just blow by blow brilliant. And I mean, for some reason, for me, I always also go back to the Critic. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my god, that show was great.
Jay Sherman. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's why we're gonna show it anyway.
That show, I have to go back and rewatch that. See, this is why the 90s was the best in my opinion, because you had great shows and you had great time, but I feel like the 80s was that introduction to, we're just going to start putting on something different for you guys to watch in all fronts or listen to. But the 90s, like, fine-tuned that.
Well, that's when we got a lot more anime coming into our world too. Like, I mean, we had Aeon Flux.
No, shut up. We don't talk about anime on the show.
Do you remember the late night MTV shows? Like
yes,
cartoons, dude.
Remember 120 Hours with Matt Pinfield?
Yeah.
Well, before Matt Pinfield, it was it was what was it called? It was Headbangers Ball.
Headbangers Ball. Yeah.
It turned into 120 Hours, like more towards the TRL years. But it was Headbangers Ball. That's what started in the 80s, but it went in the 90s bit. I can't think of the host's name. It Stinks. Yes, that was the Critic. He was amazing. It Stinks.
It Stinks.
I wish they'd bring it back. He was perfect.
He was great, man. John Lovitz, so good.
They really did adopt anime pretty hardcore back in the day, in the early 90s.
Yeah, the early 90s really started to push that because they had, there wasn't a whole lot around. Oh, Ricky Rackman.
Ricky Rackman, yes.
Ricky Rackman. Oh, do you remember MTV had the fucking Grind?
Grind.
The Grind, where they're all dancing to the latest songs.
Oh my god! Remember the single with Jenny McCarthy?
Oh yeah, Singled Out.
And Chris Hardwick.
Yep.
What was the single show?
Singled Out.
Singled Out. See, I don't know. Dude, my brain has become a point where like I don't even know. Like I think it's once I hit 40, which was 2 days ago, my brain just decided to say, you don't know things anymore.
Oh,
Goodbye.
Sure you do. You just forgot about sleep and how much it helps.
That's legit. I need to get more of that. But that's why the 90s were so good, in my opinion. Now, the 90s also brought us the downfall of television, which was reality TV.
Yeah, I mean, 90s was a weird era there at the end because we started to really split off with all the major networks. I think that was another thing we got to witness in the 90s was going from 4 television stations to 400 by the end. So that was a very interesting growth that happened over just a single decade.
Oh, absolutely. Tamara says Akira 88, which is such a great movie. I'm not a huge anime fan, and everybody knows it, but I do love Akira. And part of me for years had always heard about, like, especially in the 90s, they were going to do a live action with Keanu Reeves, and it was going to be really good, blah, blah, blah. And I was always all for it. But then I got to a point where there was like a tipping point, and I was just like, no, don't do it. Mm-hmm. Do not do it at all right now. We just saw what happened with Cowboy Bebop, which I didn't dislike, but it just wasn't the same.
I mean, it's not going to be the same. And that I've said this every time when we bring up remakes, whenever we bring up any sort of reboot, it's great to get another person's perspective or view of it. And I'm always happy to see another artist take some great content that we love and, either change, add it, flesh it out, whatever they want to do with it. That's the whole point. That's where we live. That's the society we're in. Everything gets regurgitated. Everyone's doing the same thing over. It's just putting your spin on it. It's your twist. It's through your eyes. We haven't experienced it through your lens. And some people are lucky enough to be able to put those on movies for us, and we get to try to experience it.
Yeah, it actually brought up a good point. Remote Control was one of those first game shows that came out that was sort of reality-based game show through MTV. I remember Colin Quinn being a host, but I don't remember all
Colin
of the different
Quinn.
hosts.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of different hosts, but Colin Quinn was one of them for sure.
And then along that same timeline is we get the Jon Stewart show.
Yeah. Ben Stiller show.
And we got The Soup. And then The Daily Show. And then all of those, everyone kind of floated around in those little bits. And then it started to get serious and we started to pay attention. And it was fascinating to watch that grow.
Yeah. I for me, a lot of it, but then 2000s just took it too far. But I think the 90s really hit, and it was we still had MTV for one. Not
way cooler leather jackets. I mean, that was amazing.
Remember the box?
Oh yeah,
where you could you sit there and and remember when "I'll Be Missing You" came out after Biggie died?
Oh my god!
And they just played "I'll Be Missing You" over and over and over.
Do you remember MTV News? Hi, this is Kurt Loder with MTV News.
This just in. Yep, I remember watching that. That was. Oh man,
that was how I saw Kurt Cobain died.
Yeah. He reported first on a lot of the stuff. People heard it from him first.
From him or who's the other guy? Matt something.
Well, I just remember Kurt Loder did all the big news,
and then Kennedy. Every once in a while would too.
I don't remember. I remember Kennedy did step in, but that was early. I don't think she was in there for the 90s.
I don't really remember. I could be wrong.
I think Kurt was the one that stuck. He held over from the 80s. Yeah. And the early 90s, they were, there for the most part and stuff too. Downtown Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown was amazing.
Remember the Downtown Julie Brown Halloween party?
Yes.
Every year, Casey and myself and another friend of ours had a Halloween party, and we should bring that back for the Scene Snobs.
I'm happy. 100%. The Scene Snobs Downtown Julie Brown Halloween party.
This is what we need, people. We need to become bigger. So tell all your friends, so that way we can start throwing fests. And of course, it would be a Halloween fest, and we'll bring back the downtown. And it has to be the 5th annual Downtown Julie Brown Halloween party. It's
because it's been going on as long as Downtown Julie Brown is around. It doesn't matter if we're celebrating or not, or if we're celebrating separately, or if we're all in our own homes doing it. You're still celebrating the Downtown Julie Brown Halloween special.
I can't believe I didn't call the Scene Snobs Halloween special last year the Downtown Julie Brown Scene Snobs Halloween special and Social Mixer. Remember, we just kept adding words to our party every year.
That's the best point. That's how you do it. It just gets bigger with a longer title. It's like a fucking anime or some manga. It's just that time I became a slime.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing. So I think we can both. I think we have ruled. The ruling is that the 90s is better than the 80s.
100%.
The Scene Snobs have made it so. We appreciate you all, but if your opinion varies, then I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Which is totally fine. It's okay. A lot of people have been wrong in their life, and you can walk through life wrong. It's just, you're wrong, and that's okay.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean we respect you any less. It just means we respect you a lot less.
Yeah, see, it's substantial difference, but not different at all, so you're fine.
Yeah, we're totally unreasonable people who do not like when people disagree with us.
Yeah, we can't handle differing opinions. It affects our soul, our core. It makes us feel uncomfortable with ourselves, and we don't want to see that. So instead, we just take it out on you.
Remember the MTV New Year's shows back then? Holy hell, they were. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. MTV was great back in the day, and we are so far removed from great MTV that nobody who was born in 2000 or on knows that.
Yeah.
or will.
Yeah.
So, Casey, this is actually the last topic for this evening. It's probably going to be a very short one.
Cool. What do we got?
And that is, who is the greatest villain of the 1990s? We have many. I mean, toxic waste dumpers were a big thing in the movies.
That was, bad guys who like to loot and plunder. They were pretty bad.
That's true. Oil barons.
We had an oil baron. Yeah.
But I would have to say, and this is just my opinion, there was one person who was the worst of the worst.
Dolph Lundgren?
No. He's the best of the best. With Eric Roberts. So, with that being said, not Ivan Drago, by the way. Ivan Drago was a mess and he was a horror show, but that's the 80s. No, Tamara, it isn't O.J. Simpson.
Whoa, but that just really jumped up a few notches.
Well, I mean, he's up
OJ's
there,
up there.
Sure, he's a horrible, horrible person.
Really, anyone who murders their wives and friends or other relatives, no murder.
Can we just say anybody who murders?
Yeah.
But there is one person in the 90s who was the worst of the worst. And it was even worse than O.J. Simpson, in my opinion.
Johnny Cochran?
No. Zach Morris.
Ooh.
That guy was the worst. He was so terrible. I am deeming him biggest villain ever award in the 90s. Biggest villain ever in the 90s.
The biggest villain ever in the 90s. Well, I think
Putin's putting on a show right now, so
I think he was really misunderstood.
No, he's.
But I also don't
want
want
with capitalism.
I cannot be a Zach Morris apologist. I'm not doing it. All right, he was a bad person who used his friends and used the people around him, and it's not fair. He was a dick. He was a bad person and set a terrible example.
You need to think. Listen, you look back at like either fictional or real 90s villains. And
like Gorbachev?
Yeah, he was kind of useless at that point. I mean, 80s maybe, but Deadpool, I agree with your statement on Spacey completely. Wait, I missed it. Best villain of the 90s, because Kevin Spacey, John Doe, and Seven's Cerebral. No. Because, you see, here's the thing, AJ. He's a terrible person. But he's a man with a plan, and his plan was just to create chaos. Now, that's a terrible thing. That makes you a bad person in my eyes. That makes you
Which totally worked. It worked in The Big Kahuna.
It did. But, it worked in Kevin Spacey's real life in the 90s, too. But Zach Morris was doing things that were so horrible. These atrocities are still unanswered for. And it's led to one of the worst shows on Peacock today. And that is Saved by the Bell. The new show or whatever the hell it's called. But Zach Morris is the worst. Look at the things he's done to his friends, his family, his schoolmates.
Hey, we are well on record here on the Scene Snobs as where we stand on Zach Morris. This is something that you have brought up and I have always agreed with you on. He's a piece of garbage.
Yeah. You would be dickish as well if you could freeze time. No, I wouldn't.
No.
Watch. Time in. See, you guys didn't know that, but I just froze time there, and none of you knew it. And did I mess with anybody? Absolutely not.
You're a good man. Thank you for doing that.
Can't do it. I didn't even make it go on too long. It was only about 55 minutes. The time is frozen, so we're still at 10:18. So, all right. What about Vincent D'Onofrio in his cell? Terrible, but it was all in his mind.
Yeah,
it's all in his mind. Well, not really, because he was doing those things, but those horrible things were in his mind. Was that after 2000? It might have been. So I'm nixing it. It doesn't count. He can't be the worst villain ever in the 90s. I'm telling you, Zach Morris, that fucker sold the school. Remember when they struck oil and all of a sudden you feel bad about the ducks? You were just trying to, you didn't mind if it murdered all these little critters before.
Of course not.
Oh my God.
It's always, hey, look, if it was getting him laid, making him money, or getting him good grades, he would do it. There was no line he would not cross. There was nothing.
He would cut a throat. He would
Yep.
cut a throat. So, guys, listen, it has been pretty fun. We've been having a good time tonight, but we are going to actually.
I do actually have my villain of the 90s.
No, it's Zach Morris. Remember?
Well, I was going to say anyone who cut, the Achilles tendon, because that happened a lot in the 90s. Child's Play 3.
No, it's Zach Morris.
I mean, did Zach Morris cut someone's Achilles tendon? You know what? Probably. Yeah, more than likely. You know what? I can't. There's no one else. Maybe the big bugs in Starship Troopers, but other than that,
were they fighting for their land?
Yeah, well, because of Zach Morris. People like Zach Morris. That entitlement mentality that led to the Federation being what it was.
Jesse's brother did not just disappear. Oh my God, that whole debacle right there. That whole debacle. Oh, that was the worst. He's such a scumbag. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, he student labor, like just child labor, basically. He was using against him.
And then he got Jesse addicted to pills.
Remember Dennis Hopper in Speed?
Yeah.
That was a bad guy, but he kind of got it. Zach Morris, don't understand. I nominate the dry cleaner that couldn't get the dress.
Oh, zing.
Oh, poor Monica, man.
The Clintons, you'll never stop giving us fodder for jokes.
Jeff is a pretty big villain in Saved by the Bell. Hell, the actor is the biggest villain.
Patrick Muldoon.
All right, listen. I'm sorry to say this. No, let's go back. Did he break up a true love, or did he save a woman from Stockholm Syndrome? Because let me tell you something. He may have kissed Kelly in the Max that night, but did he have a cardboard cutout of Kelly under his bed?
I mean, look, I'm just saying that he was in the middle of a game, started hitting on some other dude's chick, and then tried to invite her to a dance and basically hung out with her the whole time at the dance. You know, Johnny Rico's girl, why would you do that? It's messed up, Carmen. That's messed up.
Because she wasn't interested anymore. She broke up with him before they did anything.
Yeah, that is true. They didn't do anything.
Like, granted, I think he saved Kelly, and then Kelly wound up being stuck and having to go back. Now,
Totally fair.
Was Jeff the most hated individual in the 90s? Probably, even more than OJ. I think a lot of 90s kids would be like, nah, Jeff is the worst.
Yeah, he was kind of a piece of garbage.
But OJ stabbed those people.
Well, I mean, look, OJ's still like the worst because murder. But you know, Jeff murdered a lot of hearts. Unfortunately,
I would do this.
He laid a lot of hope to rest.
If I could only ask people who were around in the 90s, I would do that poll: who's worse, Jeff from Saved by the Bell, the manager of the Max and Saved by the Bell, or OJ? And I think everybody from the 90s would get it, but I don't think anyone outside of the 90s would get it. It
would probably be really insensitive.
Yeah, but
kind of like
just write in people.
I mean, I had my favorite trinket from the 90s was this Pog Slammer I had. And it was a clear one, and it was a dual-sided, and on one side, it was just, just big old hunk of acrylic. And on one side, it said, "Where's the juice?" And it was an orange, and you flipped it, and it was a picture of OJ behind bars, and it said, "In the Slammer."
Get the fuck out of here. That didn't exist.
If only I still had it, my friend.
OJ is living his best life on the golf course. That's a travesty, in my opinion. That's a travesty. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing uncomfortably.
I believe they call that a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, that's true. You know what, though? To go back to Pogs real quick, the original NFTs.
Holy shit, they were.
I'm telling you right now, if you explain anybody in the 90s, if somebody who grew up in the 90s was like, oh man, what's an NFT? I don't understand it. If you explain Pogs to them, they'll know it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You know it. Oh my God. And tell me those aren't the original NFTs.
Oh, 1,000%.
I am making a shirt on the Scene Snobs merch. It says Pogs, the original NFTs. It's coming. Keep a lookout for it. By the next episode, you'll probably see it.
I will, absolutely. I got to help you figure out what we're going to put on the Pog.
Yes.
It's got to be a picture of us on a Pog with some goofy saying.
I know. You got slammed by the Scene Snobs. I don't know, something stupid.
Scene
It had to be a catchphrase.
slamming.
Slamming with the scenes, or slamming. I don't know. Whatever. You know better than me.
Hanging with the slamming snobs. You know.
I don't think we can create any more snob affiliates.
Well, I mean, we can try.
There's so many. The collector snobs, the horror snobs. We have snobbed out completely. I think we should just. I want to buy stock in the word snob.
Well, I mean, we are, so we might as well.
I love it. Before, wait, did we make you cry?
Actually, real quick. One last bit.
Yeah.
Your favorite high school teen drama from the 90s, because it was our height of teen dramas, and those were the ones that got us through some tough times. So I know you've got one. I've got mine up. I want to know yours first.
Okay. All right. It's a great question. Unless I think of something else. I like the Party of Five, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite. Oh, Buffy.
Oh, awesome.
Buffy.
Absolutely.
I was going to say Dawson's, because I like Dawson's too. But Buffy was probably my favorite. And I know that's 99.
Dawson's and Buffy definitely crossed that. They crossed into the 2000s well.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up with those characters and were able to, because they were such coming of age stories. It was fantastic. And of course, you know, we slayed vampires, so we get it.
We all knew Kung Fu when we died.
Movie wise, I have to say my favorite was Varsity Blues, actually.
Actually, Radar says the same thing.
Oh shit, yeah, Radar, yes.
And Tamara says Buffy. AJ says My So-Called Life, which is a good one.
Oh, great one. God, I love that show.
And AJ also says Freshly Squeezed OJ. Your guy's choking on shit. I would if on the golf course he was trying to cheat me.
I mean, the idea of that on a shirt, great.
Fuck you, OJ. That's just our new shirt. Fuck you.
Somehow that's what the snobs are about right now. Great movies,
you, OJ.
Embracing the absurdity, mixplaining, and fuck OJ. That's.
We do have a new shirt coming out very soon this month, guys. Just so you know, it's going to come in different colors, things like that. But it's our Snobs Nation shirt. It's just going to say Snobs Nation on it, but this is going to be what we put out to join the Snobs Nation. So if you are looking for any shirts, of course, go check out the thescenesnobsmerch.com, or you can go to thescenesnobs.com. There's links to it there. This is like one of our shirts that we have. It comes in different colors. I just like the gray. We, of course, also have one of my favorites and Casey's favorites. The old saying, what's the strongest ship in the fleet? Friendship.
And then we also do have Embrace the Absurdity.
Yep, that's our saying. So if you guys are interested in any merch, please join up. If you guys want to talk with us more, join up on our Discord. Again, all of our links are on thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us on social media. You can talk to us there. You can join our Discord, talk to us there. That's all free. We do have our Patreon. If you guys want to join up there, you get exclusive stuff there and monthly prize giveaways. We will announce this month's monthly prize giveaway next episode.
Yes.
What about AC Slater? AC Slater was a piece of shit too.
Yeah, he was, but that was a different world. We thank you so much for listening, and make sure you check us out wherever you've listened to your favorite podcasts. Do not hesitate to give us those 5 stars and tell us exactly how you feel after you finish listening to this show. We appreciate you. We thank you so much. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like us, you subscribe, smash that like button, or whatever fancy other things need to be said or done. I wish we had some more colors. Maybe we'll throw that in post. Doesn't work now because we're live. Yeah,
giveaways.
Throw in stuff. We have some giveaways. We have some amazing things. We love everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Thank you so much for listening with us. It's been a pleasure as always. And this is a fantastic topic. I appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for bringing it, because you went to 90s Con. We wanted to do it on Geek Fest, and we didn't get a chance, but I'm glad we got to talk about it now and relive our early days. But
yes, the good days when they were the easier times.
Casey said it best, everything, and he did a great outro. So I'm just going to say, have a good night, everybody.
I love and appreciate you all. Be kind to each other.
Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. I'm the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. You can check out the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel or all podcast platforms afterwards. Also on our YouTube channel, you can check out great shows like Real Combat, the ultimate debate show for movie lovers, mixed movie picks with new recommendations every week, Geek Fest Live every Sunday night, and new movie reviews and news all the time. Like and subscribe, then hit the notification bell so you know when all of our new episodes drop. Thank you so much to all of our amazing Patreon supporters, with whom this would not be possible. They help keep the lights on and support us in such big ways. If you would like to become a supporter on our Patreon and take advantage of all the perks like monthly giveaways, early access, and so much more, head on over to the Scene Snobs Patreon page and just sign up on one of our 2 tiers. Join our awesome community of geeks, movie lovers, and so much more, and join up on our Discord. The Scene Snobs Discord is now live, and you can head over to thescenesnobs.com for links to there and more. The Scene Snobs merch store is now open with original and fun designs that are available on all different types of merch and apparel. Check out thescenesnobsmerch.com. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media accounts like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so many more. We have fun updates, topics, we talk about collectibles, and so much more on there. It's a great time. You can find all of our links to everything on thescenesnobs.com or on our Linktree, which are down in the descriptions below. Thanks again, everyone. Stay tuned and stay geeky. I forgot to mention, everybody, just so you guys know, next week we are starting a bracket. We're going to be doing a bracket for March Madness. It's a movie bracket, so make sure you guys join in on that, and we'll have it out. You got to follow us on social media to see the brackets, okay? But
check it out because it's going to be really cool. Slava Ukraine.
Yes, 100%.